And we're sitting here at Hawk Ranch in Murrieta, California at my home, my 40-acre wedding venue. Kind of share some ideas about growing your profit in your business and share some goals and dreams that I was able to achieve through building my business to a pretty big revenue and income and selling it for an 8-figure exit recently. So in the background here you've got it's about 10 acres of a pond and beautiful grass area. That's where the bride actually walks down. So we're sitting at my wedding venue that I bought right before I sold my business, and it's kind of a small business that I'm working on growing right now. We did about $1 million in sales last year, and we're shooting for $2 million this year. So we're trying to double sales, and so I'm kind of in the thick of growing a small business like maybe some of you are. So yeah, we pulled one of the cars out, another car that I got to purchase because I'm a car guy, and when we had the company making a lot of money and sold the company, I was able to buy some fun cars, and we're going to share the Rolls Royce with you today. Just out here shooting a little video today, kind of give you a little bit of background on myself and the businesses that I grew and some of the fun things I got to own because of growing a big company and selling a big company. So this introduced you to the 2016 Rolls Royce Ghost, Goodwood, England. It's the bespoke edition, so kind of top of the line car. You know, I think we bought this about 3 years ago, right before we sold the company. The company had a big year. We did $20 million in sales and I made $4 million, and this was one of the purchases because I'm a car guy. And so 2016 Rolls Royce Ghost, it's actually wrapped in a matte white, which makes it look kind of cool. It's you know, the Rolls Royce Ghost, and it's kind of ghost white, which I liked. And you know, just looking at the car a little bit, you've got your standard kind of two-tone, I don't know what they call that, if that's stainless from Rolls Royce, but you know, kind of polished, you know, metal look, and then the white wrap on the whole car. What makes this thing kind of unique, I think, is the 24-inch, you know, 3-piece wheels. Those came out of Los Angeles, and those wheels were $6,000 a piece, $24,000 worth of wheels on the car. And you know, obviously the suicide doors. We love the suicide door entry. One of the kind of unique things about Rolls Royce, I love the umbrellas. So obviously it rains so much in England, you press the button and the umbrella comes out of the door jamb. So there's one on each side, Rolls Royce logoed umbrella. I was told if I lose these, they're $700 a piece. So be careful with them. It's funny, we have so much sunshine in Southern California, I've never used them, but kind of a nice touch. I guess if I was in England, I'd be using them a lot more. But yeah, that was kind of a nice touch. And this car has the starlit interior. So if you look inside in the headliner, we'll get a shot of it probably while we're driving, but they take a picture of the constellation the day your car is born, and they kind of copy it into the roof of the car. So it's all, I think it's Swarovski crystals, and you know, there's hundreds of them in it. It kind of is a picture of the constellation the day your car was manufactured. They take a picture and kind of copy it. So it's all starlit interior. I think that's like a $5,000 option on this car, and luckily this one has all the options. Beautiful car. Funny story how I ended up getting the car. We had a contest at my company just talking about salesperson comp plan, and I introduced something probably 3 years into owning the company. I said, hey, if you'll sell $100,000 worth of revenue 3 months in a row, I'll buy you a new BMW. And the deal was I would put the down payment down and we would lease it for 3 years, and I would just make the car payment. So out of 20 salespeople, we had about 7 qualify. So I actually bought 7 brand new BMWs, leased them. So I was putting $2,500 down and paying $399 or $499 a month for a brand new BMW that the sales rep got to drive. We would actually put the car in their name, so they had to qualify for the lease, and some of the salespeople might not have had perfect credit, so we ended up buying a couple of used BMWs. And then one sales rep said, I don't want a BMW, I'm kind of a Mercedes girl. So we had to go down to Mercedes at Temecula and get her. We got 2 cars actually from Mercedes. So 7 different people got cars at my ad agency as kind of a bonus, and it really motivated the other salespeople to want to get to a certain level of sales so they would get a car. So I asked a new sales rep, David, what's your dream car? And he said, a Rolls Royce Ghost. I go, man, I was just down at West Coast Exotics and saw this beautiful Rolls Royce that was wrapped in white. I mean, I just fell in love with this car when I saw it, but I never thought about buying it. But when he said Rolls Royce Ghost, I'm like, you got to come with me down to West Coast Exotics and see this beautiful Rolls Royce. So I put him in the car. We drove down to the exotic used car dealer, and they said, hey, here's the keys, go take it for a drive. And I made the mistake of putting David's shotgun and me driving, and I drove the car home here to Hawk Ranch. And when I came down that driveway and my wife came out and saw it, she goes, oh my God, a Rolls Royce, I've always wanted one, you have to buy this car. I was just doing a test drive to get my sales rep motivated about setting a big goal for income, and it was his dream car, and I never even thought about buying a Rolls Royce, to be honest. I mean, they were nice, and I loved them, but it wasn't really on my list, but it was on my wife's list. So this is kind of my wife's dream car, and you know, again, 2016. This car, MSRP on this car back in 2016 was 400 grand. I bought this car for 170,000 cash. It only had 10,000 miles on it, so I got it for half price. I like buying cars when they're 3 years old and not paying the huge, you know, sticker markup on a new car. You drive it off the lot. Obviously, it went from 400,000 to 170, so somebody took a big hit. And I bought the car like this with the wrap on it, with the wheels. So it just had kind of a cool look to it, because a lot of the Rolls Royces just look like, I don't know, old people driving them. It just didn't seem like a younger person's car. So I'll show you one last thing on the car, which is the original color. So they wrapped the car, they wrapped all the door jambs. That's kind of interesting. This is the original color of the car right here, kind of a burgundy brown. So we didn't wrap the inside of the trunk, so you can see in here the trunk or door jambs here, and actually the posts. So that's the original color of the car, kind of a pretty color, but purple and brown metallic. Just the ghost white wrap made this thing really, really cool. So love the car. The sheepskin floor mats, real sheepskin. I mean, you put your toes in that. The carpet in this thing just feels amazing, and the way it drives. And I've owned some nice Mercedes S500, 550s, and no comparison. This car drives so much, you know, so much better, just smoother and quiet. And I think it's got a 12-cylinder turbo BMW motor in it. So this thing gets up and moves. I mean, it's a heavy car. It's probably 5,500 pounds. And I think 0 to 60 is like 5.5 seconds. So to get in such a big, heavy car and feel this thing go is pretty amazing. And when it shifts, there's no clunking. You never feel the car shift. It's like, it's just so smooth. So it's worth the money. It's been a fun car. I think we put about 5,000 miles on the car in the 2 or 3 years we've owned it. So it's kind of a weekend car. So a little bit about the car and how we're able to, you know, to get that is just building the business and building revenue, and comp plan for salespeople is so important. How did I hire 20 salespeople and keep them growing and generating more revenue? There's like an art and a science to that, and I'm going to share more on kind of my sales management techniques, my hiring techniques in some future videos. But wanted to get the Rolls Royce and a little bit of Hawk Ranch on film. That's part of our wedding venue. You can kind of see the dance floor in the background, the little bar, and there's a wedding room over there. So this is where we set up like 20 tables, round tables with 8 people sitting at each table. So 160 people can easily be out here on the grass. So if you know anybody getting married, look up hawkranch.net on the internet. That's and when we get to know each other, start working together, we'll definitely have you over here and give you a tour. We've got over 100 animals on the property: sheep, pigs, horses, donkeys, cows, alpacas, goats, 15 dogs. It's kind of an animal haven. Hawk Ranch, because of all the hawks that fly around here. The bird watching is pretty amazing. Got a lot of ducks. Some Canadian geese just flew into our pond and had a couple babies. So every day there's something going on with all the animals. So love to give you a tour someday. We meet, come by, and we're going to go down to West Coast Exotics where I bought the car and check out a cool inventory full of some really nice cars. Go from there. Thanks. Throw my profit.